The Cyanobacterium, written and illustrated by Kaitlyn Evans. It was late summer and Rory was hot. She set off for her favorite swimming hole to help her cool off. It was a serene lake, typically blue and glassy, yet when she arrived, it appeared quite grassy. Green and fuzzy, the lake seemed to be covered, and when she knelt, a new organism she discovered. "Hi, I'm Cy," the blue-green prokaryote proclaimed. I'm a Cyanobacterium, a relatively new name. I was once grouped with algae because I have chlorophyll, yet with further observation, I don't quite fit that bill. I have mesh-like peptoglycan in the walls of my cells. I have a lot going on, but no membrane-bound organelles. I'm a photoautotroph, converting light from the sun into carbohydrates for energy and oxygen for everyone. I also fix nitrogen. You see, I'm quite clever. The key is preventing oxygen and nitrogenase from coming together. I can work quickly, form heterocyst, or fix at night, turning an essential element into usable forms for other species to bite. It's been said I partner up with filamentous fungi and yeast. Together we form lichen, which clean the air that we breathe. Like any living things, I have good qualities and bad. Warm temperatures and stagnant water provide a lot of nutrients to be had. I eat, growing, dividing, multiplying. Eutrophic lakes like this one have a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus supplying. I can edge out other organisms with the propensity to consume. And before I even realize it, I've become a cyanobacterial bloom. You might hear bloom and think, oh my, how pretty. But I tend to choke out other life. It really gets quite gritty. The problem is, once I've bloomed, I hold toxin within my cells. And after blooming, my cells can burst and release it into wells. Contaminated water presents a global problem. So the least I can do is offer tips to help the future solve them. Farming is a pretty big deal. The demand's high, so we've turned to fertilizer, yet regulating it would be enormously wiser. Be mindful of your water use and gardening at home, and kindly, please clean up your pet waste. Don't just let them roam. If nothing else, knowledge is your greatest power. Thanks for getting to know me now. I've got some inorganic nutrients to devour. Rory, still quite hot from summer, had hardly stopped to blink. She couldn't believe this microscopic bacterium had really made her think. She turned around from her swimming hole, but rather than just mope, she decided to cool off with a popsicle, her new knowledge providing hope. She walked and thought about just how many Cys were on that lake. If something so small could have such an impact, what changes could a kid her size make? Author's note. Hi, I'm Kaitlyn. I have a 2-year-old daughter named Aurora, Rory for short. I spend hours each week reading books with her, and I'm always so inspired by the way these authors take complex concepts and make them digestible and entertaining for children. The addition of bubbles, balls, animals, or in the case of my book, popsicles, never hurt either. When I read over the guidelines for this term project, I couldn't resist the challenge of writing a rhyming story about cyanobacterial. As a young girl, my family would spend 2 weeks camping at a remote lake in southern Oregon. One summer, dubbed Algaean Summer by my best friend and I, the lake was unswimmable because of a toxic algae bloom. Over the years, the conditions of this lake worsened and native fish and other wildlife couldn't survive. Unfortunately, the lake had to be drained and restored over the course of years. For a long time, we didn't see the freshwater otters that used to live around the lake, but just last year, 25 years later, they returned. The illustrations in this book are my own and therefore a little rough around the edges. But what I hope everyone, kids and adults, take away from this story is that there's good and bad in everything. Different circumstances or situations can bring out our toxic sides, but learning more about these situations can make a big impact. Microorganisms teach us that our size doesn't determine our mark on this world. We can all make a difference. The end.